Hello and welcome to a scene of Vampire the Masquerade Independence. Today, Arianna is on her way to meet with her sire, running a tiny bit late from having made a detour to Houston, which is a bit out of the way, really, but she felt it was worth getting it over and done with before anything else. But then the traffic, always the traffic. So by the time she arrived home, she was about 10 minutes later than she expected to be. And she makes her way in at a slightly faster walking pace, but definitely not running.
One of the Mrs. Higgins, the housemaid, comes up to you and sort of takes your coat if you have a coat or any bags and that sort of thing. And she says, "Oh, we were expecting you a bit earlier." And sort of smiles at you.
Oh, just picking up a few things. Could you deliver this to the address marked on it? Or rather, have someone deliver it?
Of course, miss.
Thank you.
She scurries off. And just before she goes to the door, she says, Lady Fortescue's in the gymnasium room.
Thank you. And Arianna will make her way there.
You can hear quite loud classical music and the sound of steel on one of the mannequin dummies that you recognise.
And Arianna will open the door and lounge dramatically in the doorway, waiting for Camilla to look up.
And Camilla's dressed in her fencing gear, though she doesn't have her helmet on. And she is practicing with a dummy, and she pretends she doesn't hear you as you walk into the room.
Arianna will just watch Camilla for a few moments and then stroll her way over to where presumably her fencing gear is nearby.
Mm-hmm.
And just begin to get changed with no comment whatsoever.
Camilla carries on. I'm going to make a roll. Went to 500 loads. Yeah, she's doing fairly well at pretending that she hasn't seen or heard you. It's not her most stoic face, but it's stoic enough. She went to get changed. So, carry on.
Once she's finished getting changed, she's just going to sit down on one of the benches.
Will you make me a dex dodge roll? Not that you're going to have much. Not that it will do much, but I might roll it really badly. You might be really lucky.
Okay. Come here, little sheet. Come here. Pretty sure I remember what the stats are for this anyway, but it's always good to double check.
It's athletics even.
Yeah.
5 successes.
Yeah.
Good roll.
All the successes.
It's a shame it's not as good as mine.
Fair enough.
9 successes. It's a good job she wasn't actually trying to hurt you.
Yeah.
The maneuver is she manages to sort of flip herself backwards, parry with the sword, stretch it out, and sort of aim it so perfectly that it's just underneath Arianna's chin, the very tip of it. It's very, very quick. It's too quick for you to... Even though you sort of see it coming, you don't have quite enough time to move out of the way. You
In that
are...
case, she's just going to raise an eyebrow.
She says you are late.
Traffic can be a nightmare, especially if you're visiting Houston Hospital.
Camilla sighs and sort of whips the sword around so it's down at her side in dramatic fashion. Well, are you going to sit there all afternoon, or are we going to spar?
Are you going to pout at me the whole time?
Probably. She starts walking to the door of the room.
And Arianna will get her sword. Knowing
Yep.
full well that this is not really the fairest of fights.
No, but it's more for practice than it is for Camilla showing off. Because with melee 5, she's probably one of the best swordsmen in the world.
She could make the Olympic team if she used any of those kind of swords instead of something with an actual blade to it.
Right now it's just a fencing sword.
Yeah, she just killed the other people.
That's what happens when you have 300 years practice.
Yeah. Ah, well.
And I'm not going to do any rolls. Just it's very basic. She's just sort of teaching you how to use a sword. So.
Well, Arianna does have some melee.
Yeah. Just practice.
Yep.
This is why were you at Houston Hospital as you're clashing away?
We needed to pick up a present.
She raises an eyebrow.
Well, he wanted me to talk to that Samanya.
I didn't want you to talk to her, but you were quite adamant that you could do it on your own.
I don't think that she's the kind of person we want on our side, to be honest.
And why is that?
Well, she's a threat to Masquerade. She doesn't seem to hold a great deal of respect for the Camarilla, beyond the necessity of survival. And she objected to me reducing the suffering of her meals.
Well, I did consider killing the victim, but I fear it would have caused more mess than good. I do not have your talents for that sort of power.
So I thought I would send her some snacks.
Mm. It may stop her, it may not. She seems to have an appetite for power.
Pain. Suffering.
She seems to want to encourage others to do the same thing as she does.
She suggested offering me some of her blood.
Camilla, at this, when you say that, Camilla sort of, she does quite a rough parry that if you sort of done it full force, she probably would have knocked you over. But she manages to sort of push the brunt of it off away from you. What do you mean?
Well, I asked the details of her dietary preferences, thinking perhaps we could find an alternative. And she said that there was rather more trust involved in such information, and suggested one way that you might trust me a little more.
Camilla's hand whips round, and it doesn't look like she's particularly thinking about what she's doing. But it whips around and if it was a proper sword, it would have cut the head of the mannequin off. But it's that kind of foil material, and it sort of goes boing against the head of the mannequin. And she looks frustrated that she wasn't able to decapitate it. I see. She's pretending as if she didn't just overreact. And tries to go back to what you were doing before, but you can see the sort of angered inflection in her gaze.
And Arianna's going to continue with her practice, just waiting for the question that she knows that Camilla is going to ask. Despite the fact that Camilla should know the answer completely, she's still going to ask, and Arianna knows this, and there's just a slight smirk on her face.
I'm sorry, I seem to be quite clumsy today with my swings, she says, covering for her outburst.
Perhaps you slept poorly.
Perhaps. And so, did you two find a way to trust one another?
No, I don't think we quite ended up on the same page.
I see. Well, Perhaps I will be having a little visit myself. See that she gets her present.
Of course, I'd hate for it to go astray.
There might be a lot more missing limbs around here if people aren't too careful.
Well, you should never run with swords.
So what's the verdict? What are we going to do about her?
Well, I don't think that she's an appropriate member of the city.
No.
But that is rather down to the prince to make that decision, finally. If, of course, we had one that had the slightest interest in taking that responsibility properly.
Seeing as she's not officially a member of the Camarilla or this fief, then I don't suppose killing her would be a problem.
Well, this is true. You could tell me she's not a member of the Camarilla and she just stopped by to see the prince to ask for permission to be here. But I don't think she actually spoke to the prince.
No.
Because the prince wasn't here at the time. So, really, there's nothing saying that he has any right to be in the city.
No, not really.
Or in one piece.
Especially with such suggestions she has in mind. Like I said, power. I'm not going to have that going on. Not going to happen. You know, the threat to the Camarilla, of course.
Of course.
I'll have a little chat with the prince during the Elysium this evening.
Well, we'd hate to do anything without the appropriate permissions.
Camilla arches a brow at the way you say that.
Well, the prince of the city at the time seems to approve of the situation.
We'll see what happens.
Yes. It's not like we don't have time.
I was very worried about you going in there. I know you're a little bit more. Camilla sort of twirls her hand around as if she's looking for the right words. Morally delicate than I am.
I managed that relatively well, I believe.
Mrs. Higson says that our new adoptee was hanging around outside the office door yesterday. After he pretended to leave.
Well, I'm guessing he wanted to know what he was being left out of.
Perhaps we should have
You know
started with him there. If he's that curious. No. One couldn't bet on his self-control in the matter.
No.
And should he have been eager to join in, I've killed men by castration before.
Kindred do tend to be slightly more robust when it comes to the matter, but would not be a particularly positive beginning to his place in our family.
No. It's quite a difficult part, or at least an enduring part to grow back, I've heard.
Yes.
Anyway. She goes over and turns the music off. I believe I should go and see the Regent shortly, before tonight's Elysium. Ask her opinions on the matter.
It's
Try
probably
and withstand the icy breeze. Might have to take a coat.
It does look like it might rain later.
I mean, for her sort of cold stare and cold shoulder, the woman's impossible to charm.
I'm sure if anyone could, it would be you.
Tried and failed before, as she was kind enough to remind me.
Yes, well, it doesn't do to let your ego get that large. She's teasing. You can tell she's teasing by the smirk.
Camille's lips flicker. She's trying to pretend that she's not laughing. I don't know, maybe they all got dust in their brains and dust in their drawers. Either way, no longer interested in charming the woman and more interested in her opinions on the prince. And so, they will be found out. It's just...
Excellent.
Who else has I had to speak to?
I've yet to track down the doctor.
Well, I was supposed to speak to River, wasn't I? I was supposed to speak to River, wasn't I?
Yes.
Very well.
But we'll see what the Regent has to say.
Yeah.
You might want to ask her about her opinion of her various clanmates, if she is willing to share, though the Tremere can be notoriously close-lipped about their clan.
Close-lipped in general, what is the problem?
Oh, yes.
They like to play things very close to their chest. But I'll see what I can extract from her. And then I'll try my hand with River and see what she has to say. She's far more loose-lipped, I find.
Yes. Well, if you stretch them out like that.
That was almost a catty remark.
Almost. I shall have to try harder.
Well, you ladies must behave tonight at the Elysium. I'll try to.
Oh, I have no intention of allowing her the slightest inkling of my opinion of her. As if she deserves that much.
But you both enjoy the competition.
Arianna's going to raise an eyebrow. I think of the pair of us, we know which one is the more competitive.
Yes.
But it does run in our family.
I just find it'll be a distraction from the true cause of tonight if I have to separate you two.
Oh, don't worry.
I know I'm quite the catch, but I've already been caught. No point squabbling over it now.
Like I said, don't worry. She's not worth the effort. Aside from the occasional amusing remark.
Hmm.
But I do wish you luck with getting information out of her.
Oh, it'll be easy enough.
I don't doubt it.
Plus, I can always pull on some heartstrings if I need to. I have video evidence of her two intercrossing lovers in the night. Seems she has two admirers that she has in and out of her window.
And has not been considerate enough to let them know about each other. How rude.
And they're both sort of scruffy outdoor sorts. I hasten to assume they're both gangrel.
Well, that will cause problems.
Yes. Plus, I don't appreciate her using our nightclub as a whorehouse.
Yes.
No, it used to be one, but it's no longer one.
And even then, there was rather more class involved.
Yes. I don't know, some people age and still don't get over the whole teenagers climbing through the window in the dead of night type thing that I rather got rid of in the 1700s. It's all the rage back then.
Well, yes. All that palaver about climbing over walls and... You'd think that people would have actually watched the play before emulating it and realised just how stupid of an ending they ended up with.
Mm. I did try and climb the front of your building once. It was a lot flatter.
Yes.
No balcony. It was a little small sort of French window thing that I couldn't quite perch onto and then got disturbed by people below.
Yes, that was quite amusing.
Didn't know that you noticed.
Well, I did have to worry about security. You can't have strange men climbing up the walls any time of the night.
Well, it took me a long time to get into that room. Like it was, have been top of the gateway to heaven or something. Valhalla. It took a long time to get up there. All these different stops on the way. A very difficult woman to get hold of at the time. And, well, I got there in the end at least. My usual tactics didn't work, so I employed something different.
And do you ever question if it was worth it?
No.
I thought not.
Sometimes I despair of it, especially when you're late for our training sessions. But, then I worry too much. You know that.
Yes. Well, I would worry if you stopped worrying, I suppose.
One of us has to worry. Let's worry ourselves into what we're going to be wearing for tonight's Elysium.
Oh, yes, that does seem like a good topic to consider. And one that's significantly less likely to end up with adorable little worry lines around your face.
Joanna considers putting the helmet on. But instead just pulls one of her faces and heads towards the door.
Do give the Regent my best.
The door slams.
Oh. And there the scene will end.